Welcome back to another episode of Just a Tip, where we say the shit that everyone's thinking but nobody's saying. Today I'm sitting down with Eileen Andrade, the powerhouse behind Miami favorites Finka Table and Tap and Amelia's 1931, a third-generation restaurateur born and raised in the 305. Eileen literally grew up in one of Miami's most famous kitchens. Her family's legendary Isla Canarias, a Cuban institution that's still serving up croquetas and cafe con leches out of 2 Miami locations. From running a food truck out of a parking lot to building 2 of Miami's most iconic dining spots, Eileen opens up about what it takes to really grow a restaurant brand without losing your soul or your margins. We get into it all. Traveling to Korea to refine her craft, the hard truth behind owning or leasing your own real estate, and how she managed to keep prices steady, even as costs skyrocket throughout the industry. Today's episode is a masterclass on vision, resilience, and Miami hustle, straight from one of the city's boldest culinary voices. So let's get into it. This episode of Just a Tip is brought to you by Rooftop Solutions. So the craziest thing happened. You might have even seen it in the news. A restaurant in Wynwood had to shut down for years after a leaky roof caved in. Imagine all that money, time, momentum gone just because the roof wasn't handled right. And that's why I always recommend Rooftop Solutions. They've been protecting homes and businesses all over Miami-Dade and Broward for over 20 years. They're local, based in Hialeah, and they take pride doing the job with honesty and craftsmanship so your roof stands the test of time. And here's the deal. If you got a leak, they will patch it for free while prepping your roof to be replaced. So unless you want to add a lazy river in your dining room, call Rooftop Solutions, tell them Felix sent you. If your restaurant's POS is slowing you down instead of speeding you up, you're running on the wrong system. Here's the reality. Most POS platforms were built for franchises and retail, not really for restaurants like yours. That's why I actually back Pecan POS. It's built specifically for food service, fine dining, chef-driven, and high-touch spots. And it doesn't make your life harder, it makes it easier. Fully customizable, hooks right into every major delivery app. And the kicker? The POS itself is free with their solution. No bullshit fees, no nickel and diming you with add-ons, just a system that actually runs the way your restaurant runs. Trust me, this one is different. Visit pecanpos.com or hit the link in the show notes to book a demo. So I am super lucky enough to have a very special guest today. We have a third-generation culinary artist in the building today.
Wow. I gotta bring you around more often.
I'm telling you, today we have the pleasure of having one of the greatest chefs and dynasties definitely on the show and in Miami, Eileen Andrade today.
Thank you so much for
coming on.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Dude, it was a trip getting you on because I respect you so much and just everything you do for the community and the history you have. I don't think we've had anybody on the show that has your authentic Miami history. And not just like in the culinary world, but you know, old school. You have that some of that old school, meaning like what you brought to the table and the changes that you've made. And I think you're fucking awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I think first time me and you met like in person was actually at the panel we did in South Beach for the MAP, right?
Yes.
Which is a women's charity, and I love them. I love what they do. Shout out to MAP.
Shout out to MAP. Doing great things.
But you're an OG Miami girl, right?
Yep. Born and raised in West Kendall, off of Corway 137.
Nice.
Right where my parents' restaurant, Isla Canarias is, which we're actually celebrating. 2026 is 50 years of Isla Canarias.
50 years.
So we're planning on doing something big. We haven't decided what yet, but yeah, 50 years. That's a long ass time in Miami.
And so they're also originally from Cuba, obviously.
Yes,
right?
My parents are both from Cuba. My grandfather had restaurants in Cuba. He had 5 bars and restaurants.
Yep.
When the regime took over, he kind of handed over his keys and said, I'm out, and came here with $500 in his pocket and started from the bottom.
And for those that don't know, Amelia, which you named your restaurant after, was named after your grandmother, correct?
Yes, Amelia's 1931, her name and the year she was born.
Amazing.
Which
I never realized that's what 1931.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, is that the address?
It's crazy. We have a lot of guests that their grandmother's names are Amelia, and that they were born that same year, and they bring them to the restaurant for their birthday.
Right.
And I don't know, that's just like a beautiful thing. I wish my grandmother was still around to see that, but I'm all about tradition.
Right.
So,
And I love that.
We named Finka because my grandfather grew up on a farm, so I had to do something for my grandmother.
Never knew that. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's my homage to them.
That's super awesome. So, now, the regime comes in, they flee to Miami, obviously they're immigrants. What was based on what what was their experience like, starting over from the very beginning and
getting back into the culinary world. And
Yeah, I mean, from the stories that I grew up listening to, my grandmother started off as a housekeeper. My grandfather he got a job like with a moving company. So two very different things that what they were used to in Cuba, because they owned businesses in Cuba and, restaurants and bars. And they had to come here and do whatever it took to make some money. And then, once my grandfather was able to make enough money, he opened his first restaurant, actually where Bouchon in the Gables.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yes.
Right.
So that restaurant was my grandfather's first restaurant, and it was called El Coco.
Wow. What year was that? I mean, that was...
In the 60s. I'm not really sure
Wow.
what year exactly. But I didn't know that until one of the managers told me that. Because my parents had been there a couple of days before, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe this was your grandfather's restaurant." And I was like, "What?"
Wait, what? Like, yeah, because nobody... Exclusive, motherfuckers.
Yeah, and I found out like this year. So yeah, my mom was telling me the story. Oh, yeah, this was your grandfather's first restaurant. It was a disaster because my mom was the server. She barely spoke English.
Right.
My uncle was like a busser, also barely spoke English.
Right.
So it was just like a lot of tourists coming in to eat, and their menu was in Spanish. And so, it was the first, like the trials and tribulations from starting from the bottom, and it was a learning experience for them. But that was their first restaurant. They grew to have another restaurant called El Teide, which people still talk about now. Some of my guests who are way older will tell me, I remember when I used to go to El Teide, it was like 8 seats, a bar, like just a bar stools, 8 seats. My grandmother would make the coffee. My mom would take your order. My grandfather was in the kitchen with a little window. You'd yell at him and say, "Hey, make my steak medium rare.
Right.
Cut my ribeye thinner this time." Or you would just yell your order to him. And my uncle was his little sous chef.
Wow.
And that's how they established their name here, was with El Teide. And they told me that people would line up, after the theater going to see a show, they'd line up in like tuxes and long dresses and wait behind the person sitting at the counter to finish to then get their spot.
Right.
And I guess that hospitality that they had, in that little tiny spot, gave them like a name, and from there they opened Isla Canarias.
Which is legendary.
It is a staple.
So then, obviously, little Eileen Andrade is born. I was born in the, my family were immigrants. They opened a restaurant / nightclub, which I pretty much lived in. They would have a room for me. I'd be sleeping there. Did you have similar type of experience, or did you pretty much live there since your whole family was working the restaurant?
Yeah, so if my grandmother wasn't taking care of me at home,
Right.
I was at the restaurant. And I always say that I have to give my props to the old school cash registers for how good my math is, because I was the cashier at like 8 years old.
Really?
And this was all manual. You had no calculator.
Right.
So you had to do all this math in your head. So I actually, like freshman year in high school, I was in a class full of seniors for my math class because I was so good at math.
Oh, you were good like
so,
that?
Yeah, I was
Jeez.
like a little math nerd because of that, because I handled money at 8, 9 years
Right.
old. Besides that, I loved to expo for takeout. I would get on the mic. We used to have a microphone in the kitchen, and I would expo our drive-through orders. I did whatever. And I don't know, for me, I thought I was helping. Maybe I was in the way as a kid.
Yep.
But I thought it was the coolest thing to be there and like help out.
Now, like growing up in that, is this like, at a young age where you're like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do? Or were you, because you were consumed with it, you're like, I hate this and I just want normal?
I think when I was really young, I thought it was fun.
Yep.
And then as I got older and saw how hard my parents worked, realized what time they were getting home,
Right.
realized they couldn't make it to a dance show, or I couldn't do this, or we didn't really go on family vacations because they couldn't leave the restaurant. That's when I was like, oh, hell no. I'm
Right.
not doing this. This is too laborious. You don't have a life. No. I want to go study fashion merchandising, which is what I did.
Right. Where did you go, New York? Or?
No, I
here?
was going to do interior design. I got into Fordham. I chickened out. And then I went to the Art Institute here in downtown and switched from interior design to fashion merchandising.
And then when did you realize that, maybe you still kind of incorporated into
I do.
Yeah.
I love fashion. I love food styling
Right.
as well, which has nothing to do with fashion merchandising. But I feel like, you're learning about textures and colors and, eating with your eyes and purchasing with your eyes, But I think I realized it when I was working for a stylist, and he didn't have a car, and I kind of drove him around everywhere. I wasn't getting paid. I was an intern. And I had to sign off for some jewelry. that was like $80,000. I put my name on it, and I'm realizing like I'm not getting paid. I'm putting $80,000 on the line here, like
Right.
with my name on it. It wasn't fulfilling to me, and I quit. And I'll never forget this, and I've said this in other interviews before. He was like, "So you're gonna leave me to go sell pan con bistec?" And I was like so offended.
Right.
I was like, "That pan con bistec paid for the car that I'm driving your ass around in."
Right.
You know, so it almost like he was putting down my family business.
Right.
And I was so upset. And since then, I stopped working in the fashion industry, and I called my mom, and I was like, "All right, like, I need a job. I need to make money. Let me go see if this restaurant thing is something I enjoy."
Okay, so now obviously you go work at the restaurant. I'm sure you're doing every job imaginable in the
She
restaurant.
made me start from the bottom. So,
Right.
I mean, although as a kid I had worked at the restaurant, like I'd never like gotten paid.
Right.
I didn't have like a job code.
Right.
So, you know, I was a dishwasher for a week. Then from there I was doing pastelitos and bocaditos because we have a bakery. And I started in pastry. I did not like baking. It was too exact for me. I liked being on saute and fry. I did everything. Again, dishwasher, worked in the bakery, worked the line, then I managed, and then I told her I love the kitchen and I loved managing. Those were my two favorite things.
Right.
So then she's like, well, that's perfect if you ever want to own a restaurant. So I kind of just ran my parents' bakery for about a couple of years, I would say like 2-3 years, and that's when I decided to open up a food truck with my brother. Yeah, that was our first.
Was that like 2000?
That was like 2010.
10, yeah. So you were one of the first.
Yes.
Because at the time I remember
yeah,
they
it was
gave out
Gastropod,
right.
Miss Cheesiest.
That's right.
Us,
Nacho
like,
Daddy.
I don't remember Nacho Daddy, but
Oh no, Nacho Business.
Nacho Business. That sounds familiar. What else?
The Cuban guy, I think, right?
Oh man, I'm trying to think of
was a
the
pig-
Flying Saucer. I don't know if you
Right,
remember
I
that.
remember the flying saucer. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we
came
had
out
one.
during-
We had the cheese meat truck.
Oh.
Back in the day. So
Wow.
yeah, I got brought in. It was a disaster. Another guy ran it. I was moving from New York. They're like, "Hey, you want to run a food truck?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. I got this."
Yeah, I mean, at that time, it was the dream to have a
Right.
food truck. There were so many shows about the food truck business, and we thought we were coming in and we were gonna like blow up, which we did well.
Yep.
But we focused more on catering.
Yep.
So I didn't want to just be driving around and hoping the tweet would
Right.
get the people there, you know.
Right.
So
And I think once they started pushing the food trucks out
Yeah.
everywhere, then you're like relying only on promoters who did the tropical park and
yeah, and then you're paying someone hoping people will get there.
hopefully,
Right?
yeah, that you're praying it doesn't rain.
Right.
And you know, it's. I mean, but it was a cool experience.
It
You
was.
got
It was
to-
like my little culinary school.
right because
I
that was
didn't-
like your first like your own
Right.
project.
Right, and when we encountered a lot of different things, you know, my
propane goes out and
100%.
I've been
Flying
there,
Saucer has
there.
helped us with
Right,
the
generators.
propane situation. Yeah, we met a lot of people. I mean, it was really cool to like connect with everybody, but it was a lesson for my brother and I
Right.
of like if the fryer breaks, how do you fix it, or if there's a grease fire behind your
Yeah.
behind your plancha, what are you gonna do? You know, so it was cool. But we did focus on catering, and that was fruitful for us. We did a lot of weddings, bridal showers. I mean, all types of events.
Right. For anybody that's trying to get into food trucks in Miami now, like what kind of advice do you have for them in terms of what to expect, like the good and the, you know, because a lot of people now reach out and they're like, well, you know, I'm not ready to put in $500,000 to open a restaurant, but maybe I do a food truck. And you know, my thing to them is, you know, oh, you can do that. But there's just so many rules and laws that, you know, it's not as easy and it's very hard to get a permanent spot.
Right. So I think the catering way is the way to go.
Right.
I think first, do you love this job?
Right.
Do you like to sweat in this little hot box?
Right.
And then I think, do you know enough people to get that started, right?
Right.
Because if you don't know anyone in Miami, you just think that you're going to park your food truck in a corner, people are going to come, that is not going to happen.
Right, and I think the new rule is 500 feet away from residential and 500 feet away from a restaurant.
See, I don't, since I'm not in that business anymore, I don't know how crazy it's
Right.
gotten, but I got out when it was getting crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, I would definitely go the catering route. And honestly, if your dream is to open up a restaurant, I think once you build that clientele, they will. I have my guests that used to cater with me that come to the restaurant.
Did you do the catering from the restaurant? Did you have a commissary?
The restaurant was the commissary, my parents' restaurant.
Right.
So we would prep there, load the truck, do our catering, come back, unload. That was the most annoying part too.
Right.
Like that's another thing to think about. Not only is it a food truck, unless you want to cook inside the food truck.
Right.
You probably need more space. You're going to need to get a commissary. That's an extra expense. And then loading the food truck, unloading the food truck, cleaning the food truck every night. Because a restaurant, usually you have a cleaning crew or your staff, they'll clean their stations. Like if it's just you got to think about that. We would get home at 2 a.m, unload the truck, clean the truck.
Dump the oil,
the
right?
sun would be coming up and we're pulling the food truck out. So those days were rough.
Yeah.
I would say I worked probably more then than I do now, physically, you know.
Do you think that you learned, though, how to problem solve
100%.
then? Like, you think that was a
100%.
big learning curve for you?
One of my favorite stories
Yeah, go for it.
is we were catering a wedding, and I don't even think the people of the wedding knew this because why would I tell them? I had to figure it out.
Right.
I was going in my car, my brother was in the food truck behind me, and I made a sharp turn, and I was like, oh shit, that was really sharp. And I look back, and I'm like, oh, fuck, the lomo stroganoff is in the oven. And that oven, like if something hits it, it
Right.
will open. So I called my brother, I'm like, did you hear a loud noise? He's like, I heard the fucking loudest noise. I'm like, damn it. We get to the truck, I open it, 300 people's worth of lomo, of churrasco stroganoff on the floor of
What
the
do you-
food truck.
what
And the
do
wedding
you
was
do?
in 3 hours.
What do you, like, how do you problem solve that?
Problem solved, call a restaurant, and I'm like, I need you to open a case of churrasco, start chopping, and put the chef on. I'm gonna teach him, like, or walk him through what I need him to do, and I need someone to bring this to me in the next hour and a half.
Were they able to pull it off?
And they were able to pull it off.
Amazing. But
But
that was
cleaning that up, imagine cleaning, and then one of my favorite things is that a week later, I go to my parents' restaurant and I tell the chef, like, make me whatever. And he made me the lomo stroganoff. And I almost threw up because having to clean like 100 pounds of mushroom and
Right.
beef
right
was disgusting.
because
So-
it was also in the sun and
yeah. No, it's just the last thing I want to eat,
right,
especially a week after, is that.
right.
So those are little things. And then we had a grease fire that same day. We didn't even think of, like, it just happened so fast. I grabbed 2 bottles of heavy cream and just went like that, and it turned off somehow. We had a fire extinguisher, but you know,
Just wasn't in front of you.
just crazy
Like, I don't
shit.
got time to pull the tab and-
Yeah.
right.
I'm like, I've never used one. I feel like everyone, that's a good thing. I feel like everyone should have like a training on how to use a fire extinguisher.
Right.
Because quite frankly, thank God, I have never had to use one. Obviously, I've seen my staff use it in like a video. Oh shit, this happened, check out the video. But I've never had to use one. And I think that would be like a class that would benefit a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because I think people are scared to use it because it creates a mess.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever had to use
Definitely
one.
have not. Definitely have not.
It creates the biggest mess. And you're scared to use it because, I don't know, you've never used it before. And it's a moment of panic. You're going to try to do what you know how to do, right?
Right.
And what I knew how to do was get 2 bottles of heavy cream and put it over the fire.
Amazing. So after you have days like that, obviously, you know, you come home. Was that like one of those moments where you're like, I'm done with this. I'm over this.
What am I
and
doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah. At that point, that was towards the end of our food truck run. And I think I was ready to open a restaurant. I'm like, I'm putting in so many hours. I could be doing this on a bigger scale.
Right.
And I think we knew enough, you know, we had enough clientele. I had my parents backing, Isla's backing, people I had done caterings for, you know, a lot of friends. So I felt like I was ready to make the next step.
Right. And I mean, you were local. You were part of the, you know, society, and you were part of the neighborhood, and you had all your locals. So now, and I'm guessing that you pretty much grew up cooking traditional Cuban cuisine, right?
Yeah. At home, it was masita de puerco, fricase de pollo, arroz con salchicha, like all the Cuban staples, very homey meals. So I had no classic training.
Right.
All we ate was Cuban food. So I knew I needed to expand.
Right.
Not necessarily my palate, because at that point when I opened, right before I opened Finka, I had traveled and I had eaten a lot of different cuisines, but I had never cooked it.
Where did you go?
So I went to Korea, was my big trip to kind of just, my ex lived there.
Right.
And that's why I went. And when I went the first time, I was like, holy shit, I love the culture here. I love the food. I need to incorporate this into my next project because I don't know any restaurants in Miami,
Yep.
let alone West Kendall,
Right.
that are doing Korean food.
Right.
So the second time I went, I met this lady who was doing cooking classes, and she was like an older lady. She spoke English. It's very hard to find someone who speaks like fluent English there.
And this is what,
And
Seoul? You went to Seoul?
This was in Daegu.
Okay.
It's a couple hours away from
Yep.
Seoul. And And yeah, I went every day at 7 a.m, took the train, went to her little studio, and we cooked for her and her friends. So she would invite her friends over and they would eat the food that we'd cook.
Is this something you thought of like when you were already visiting, or when you were home, you're like, I want to learn to?
Yeah, once I was home, I was like, okay, like eating out at places in eating out in places in Korea isn't gonna teach me anything. Right. I need someone to teach me the bases. Right. Like teach me how to make kimchi, teach me how to make japchae, teach me how to make, the sauces that go into a Korean barbecue, like all that stuff. So that's what I did is I covered my bases of all the like Korean staples that I should know.
Yep.
And yeah, she was amazing. I just went to Korea, but I didn't go to Daegu. I went to Seoul, and I was trying to find her contact information to like reach out to her. So if you're watching, reach out to me. No, I lost her contact information. I would love to connect with her, honestly, because she is the reason why Finka exists, really. Like, if I wouldn't have found her, I probably wouldn't have been able to come up with that menu without her.
So let me tell you guys something I see all the time. You take over a second-gen space, you think it's turnkey, but the second you walk in, it's not exactly what you need. Maybe the bar layout doesn't flow, maybe the kitchen's a little outdated, or the bathrooms look like they haven't been touched since the 90s. That's why I tell all my clients, you need to call Brodson Construction. Whether you're building from the ground up or not, you still need the finishing touches done right. Brodson's been local and family-run since 1989. They're the top 1% in Florida, and they've handled everything from luxury homes on Star Island to some of Miami's best retail and restaurant spaces like LPM, Cipriani, Hillstone, Bell Harbor, just to name a few. Bottom line, don't settle for nickel and dime contractors who might underbid the work to win the job up front and screw you over in the end. Brodson maintains integrity every step of the process to build enduring relationships and never exploit clients. So remember, if you're going to build, call Brodson Construction. Look, as a business owner, I'll be real with you. Running my brokerage takes all my time. And in Miami, if you're not showing up online or on social media, you just don't exist. That's why I've worked with Sage Marketing Studios from the very beginning. Website, social, even this podcast. They're the ones behind the camera, building strategy, keeping it consistent, and making sure my brand looks like it actually belongs in the city. So just a tip. Stop having your cousin post blurry iPhone pics once every 3 months. Hit up Sage Marketing Studios. You can find them on Instagram at socialmedia.sage and tell them Felix sent you. A lot of you know me from my F&B Miami page, but what you might not know is that I also run Florida's largest restaurant real estate brokerage called F&B Hospitality. Every week I meet somebody that thought that they could just wing it on a restaurant lease. And every week on F&B Miami, you guys see how that turns out. And that is exactly why I started F&B Hospitality Brokerage. We treat our clients' money like it's our money. We don't say things just to say it or paint pretty little pictures. We go based on facts and numbers. If we don't like a deal, location, or permit status, we are absolutely not afraid to tell you. It's about setting you up to last. So you could focus on food and foodies while we negotiate the build out and the terms.
So now you're back in Miami. Like, did you already tell your parents that you want to incorporate this, a Korean flavor, and like, what was their reaction to like old school, Cuban restaurateurs who were like, incorporate, like, did they get the whole fusion thing or not really? Because originally
where Finka is, we bought that property. Right. My parents are my investors. Yep. Although they let me do whatever, they were a little skeptical when I said I'm mixing Cuban, Peruvian, and Korean. Right. Because they were cool with the Cuban and Peruvian because our chef at one of the restaurants was Peruvian, and he was already incorporating Peruvian flavors and dishes into our menu, and it was well accepted. But when I said Korean, unfortunately, Cubans are very close-minded when it comes to Asian cuisine. So they were like, I don't think the Cubans are going to like that. I don't know. Besides arroz frito, they don't eat anything else that is Asian. Right. At least not in my household and not in a lot of old school Cuban households. So I was a little nervous that they were nervous, but it was like set in my mind that I was going to do this. I had like this whole vision. I thought that it was going to bring something different to the neighborhood. I went to school in downtown. I was hanging out in downtown. I was going out to eat in downtown. And I was like, why can't I bring that to West Kendall? Why do we have to freaking travel 25, 30 minutes to get good food? Right. And not that West Kendall didn't have good food. It just had very traditional food, your basic Latin American food. Right. And chain restaurants. But we hadn't had like a menu that was chef driven or something different from, the regular pan comité. Right. So I was nervous. And the neighborhood actually was giving me a little pushback because we had signs saying now open. with a date, and people would pull in and be like, oh, I want to see what it looks like inside. And like, oh, what's the menu going to be like? Oh, me super excited. It's going to be Latin Asian fusion, focusing on it. And they're like, what? Oh, I thought it was going to be like your parents' restaurant. And I'm like, you want another one?
Right.
There's already 2 in a
Right.
2-mile radius. So I was nervous, but I like I said, I was set on doing this.
So, okay, so now you're set. You want to open Finka. What was opening Finka like? From like obviously you guys own the building, but, in terms of building it out and permitting and, we talk about this a lot on the show about restaurateurs that maybe opened restaurants, New York or LA, but they've never opened Miami-Dade. And you even being a local and, knowing obviously everybody in the industry, was it easier for you, or did you still find the same problems dealing with the city and the permitting and...
Yeah, I mean, I think for someone to say that they've never had issues with permitting would be the biggest lie.
Right.
Or they hired someone and they have no idea that anything's happening. But we do things by the book. We don't pay off anyone to give us a permit. We've never done that. We go by the book, so things take long for us. And it's funny because you see all these big shots coming in, and I'm sure they're paying the big bucks to go, jump over the hurdle. And we're just like normal Kendall people,
Right.
just trying to do things right. And of course, we said we were going to finish build out in 6 months. It took us a year.
Right. And that's really good, by the way. That's,
Yeah.
for people that don't know, that's a 2-year,
Well, the good thing is
2.5-year
it
process.
used to be a KFC Long John Silver's,
okay.
so the kitchen was already built out.
You had a second gen already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that, which I feel like the kitchen is a pretty big headache because
Yeah.
of the hood and everything. It was pretty much built out, and we had the coolers already there. Like everything was in
They
good
kept
condition.
the hood, the coolers,
yeah.
everything was...
We just changed equipment.
Infrastructure-wise, you were... And that's got a lot of firepower, too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it handled all the Korean, food and a lot... Because in a lot of... Was it too much firepower, or...?
Well, they, for whatever reason, I don't know why, they had such a large kitchen. They had like a prep area and then their regular line. It kind of fit the model perfectly.
Right.
The only thing is like their freezer was massive. We don't freeze a lot of
Right.
things, so that's kind of like a waste of space. But for the most part, the kitchen, and we adapted too. We decided to not invest too much money into
Right.
the kitchen because again, this is a big risk in the Middle West, Kendall.
Well, I mean, did you guys fit your budget, or did you go over budget? Because, 9 times out of 10, everybody here is, thinks that, okay, this is the money I got set aside, and then it turns into, oh, we forgot this, and this permit, and this, we want impact fee,
Yeah.
I know you took a second gen, but...
Yeah, we definitely went over the budget, and
Right.
it was always the last minute decisions.
Right.
Let's add a skylight to this room. We decided, so where the drive-through was of the KFC Long John Silver's, because it was a duo, we decided it'd be cheaper to build out the restaurant a little larger to then get the liquor license than
Right.
to buy a liquor license. And then obviously more space, more seats, And so we did that. And then we're like, we're going to have this all an outdoor space. It's going to be so cute. And like we kind of took the idea from like sugar cane. We kind of got inspired by that, having the outdoor, indoor. And like a month before we opened, we're like, it is too hot. No one's going to sit out here.
Right.
It's going to rain every other day. So then we had to enclose all that with impact. So imagine.
This is all before you even
This was
opened, right?
all like, I'm telling you, it was right before we opened. We did interviews in that outdoor space. And right before we opened, we're like, we can't do this. It's too hot. We're just sitting out here for 15 minutes interviewing people and we're sweating. No one's going to want to sit out here.
Did you have those days where you just like start to doubt yourself, and you're like, your parents and your family's looking at you like, what did you get us into, or were they cool along the way? Like,
I feel like maybe the first day, like friends and family,
Yeah.
where it was a disaster as it usually is, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if I can say that.
No, absolutely. Don't. Where's F&B, bro? This is just a tip, so
Yeah.
we're good.
That day I was like, how am I going to pull this off?
Right.
Because we want to be busy. And obviously we had a full house that night. And I was like, this is going to be a Saturday night.
Right.
I mean, hopefully, right?
Yep.
How are we going to pull this off? This is crazy. So I think that day I doubted myself. But once we got the rhythm, like
Yep.
the staff got the rhythm, the kitchen got the rhythm, we took off and we had 2-hour waits for like 2 years.
Right.
It was amazing. And, you know, Finka's been around for 11 years. We still got our hour wait.
Which, by the way, in restaurant years, that's like generations, because, you know, the time span, and, you know, not everybody makes it. And so 11 years, that's incredible right out the gate.
I forget, because I opened Finka when I was 25.
That's crazy.
And I'm married to a 28-year-old, right? And I'm like, I feel like I was, I guess, pretty mature for my age, because I see my wife and I'm like, I don't know if she would be able to handle the shit that I handled. Also, she's not in the restaurant business. She's a personal trainer. So completely different personalities, and I grew up in this, so obviously, but I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what was in me that didn't scare the fuck out of me to not do this. I was like, I'm doing it. Let's do it. Let's go. And I had a great team. Our opening team was awesome. Like they still come to the restaurant. They're still my OGs. They get invited to all our holiday parties. We had a great team. We were all green, and I think that's what was cool. Like
you guys were learning together.
Exactly. We were all learning together. I'll never forget. My mom made a host who I'm still friends with. He was a host for one day, and we were down a server. And she's like, "Do you know the menu?" He's like, "Not really." And she's like, "Okay, here's a pad. I need you to take that table." The kid was a baseball player that was in town for the summer.
Amazing.
And like we hired him to be a host because he had a great personality. Well, he ended up being one of my number one servers.
Wow.
But I think we hire, and I still do this to this day, based on personality. Your resume can say a bunch of bullshit. And of course, I look for people who have some sort of hospitality experience. But I don't care if you worked at the best restaurant. Do you have a personality? What do you like to do on the weekends? Do you have hobbies? Like, those are my questions in my interview, not like, what are the steps of service? That's not I'm not gonna ask you that. What do you do on the weekends when you have time off? I ask really random things. And someone asked me the other day, like, what do you ask? And I'm like, fuck, I can't think. It just comes out. Random questions. Because I want to get to know you. Like, are you going to make a fun time for my guests? Are you going to make a memorable experience with my guests? Because I'll teach you the rest. I'll teach you steps of service. I'll teach you the menu. I'll teach you about cocktails. But, like, do you have a personality? Because I feel like I've been going to a lot of restaurants lately that have been opening up in Miami. And, yeah, the service is good, but it's not memorable. I don't remember the server's name. The server definitely doesn't remember my name. We made absolutely no interaction. And yeah, the food was good. The vibe was all right. The restaurant was beautiful, but it wasn't memorable.
And it wasn't worth it.
And I just spent $600 for two people. And I'm probably never going to come back. And that's what I think makes Finka and Amelia special, as I always tell my staff. Remember something about them and make sure they leave here without forgetting your name. Because that means that you created an experience for them.
Now, when you started recruiting your team and you're getting more popular, you know, did people look up to you? Did people look down to you? Well, you know, maybe, you know, it's originally a male-driven world, you know, a woman in power coming in. Did you get like shit for that? Did people like try to...
People ask that a lot. I don't know if I'm lucky. I don't know if it's my personality. I don't know. Like, I didn't experience that at all. My executive chef and my sous chef were both like 6'3", but we all three of us got matching tattoos. Like, one of the sous chefs tattooed me and tattooed, like, we were a team. It wasn't like, oh, you're a woman and you're tiny, you're not gonna be my boss. No, it was like, we're doing this together. Like, and I'm gonna be beside you. And that's the whole point, right? Like, I'm not there going, hey, do that, or hey, do this. I'm carrying the 50-pound box of steak, and you're like, yo, can I help you? I'm like, no, go do something else. I got this. Like, you're working beside them, not above them. And that is like my motto for everything.
So now, you know, obviously you're picking up steam. In your mind, when was the first time you're like, shit, I'm doing something right? Or, you know, because obviously now you're on TV and you're getting a lot of press and you're in Forbes and you're in like all these publications. In your mind, was it like real? Like, was it something, you know, did it humble you? Did it like, okay, this is what the work is about? Or...
I got a lot of press that year. The first 2 years, I got so much press. And now I'm like, I can't believe I did all that, because now I hate, thank you for having me here. But it's not that I hate it. I'm very shy. So my marketing girl's always pushing me to like, you got to get back on the internet. You haven't been on the internet for a couple of years. Like, we got to get you back on. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I was working a lot, and that was the fruits of my labor being on the cover of a magazine
Right.
next to Michelle Bernstein and Chef Adrian and Cindy Hudson. Like, I was next to all these people. I felt like I didn't deserve it, but I was like, I'm doing it. I'm here. Whatever. We got to do it. I think that cover of that magazine was when I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is awesome. And I think another moment was I was in New Orleans and I was getting in a cab, and the chef of the restaurant, I don't remember the name, was it Shia? I think it was Shia. The chef or the sous chef or someone ran out to the car, was like, "You're Chef Eileen." And I was like, oh, someone recognized me in New Orleans? Like, I felt so cool. Those two moments for me were like, damn, this is awesome.
Well,
but
I heard a rumor that you beat Bobby Flay on
I didn't.
No?
I didn't.
Somebody mentioned
Mika?
that to me.
Maybe that was Mika.
Maybe, but no. Somebody said it was Eileen. Okay.
No. So I got invited, so I was on Chopped.
Chopped, I know, yeah.
And that was very traumatizing. So I promised myself I would never do a competition show again.
Really?
I was too green. I had only cooked my own food. It was a disaster. Like, I did it for the restaurant. I didn't want to do it. I also don't watch Food Network or any shows. Sorry, it's not that I don't like it. It's just the last thing I want to do when I get home is watch something about food.
Right.
So people always name all these celebrity chefs or whatever, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know who that is, and not because I'm too good for it. It's just the last thing I want to do is watch.
You don't want to bring
a
it
food.
home with you.
I want to watch murder.
Right.
I want to watch murder. I want to watch a documentary.
Right. Well, Law and Order, like whatever.
Something that'll soothe me. Maybe like a little murder show.
Horror movie.
Like that to me is calming. But like watching Chopped is like, no, there's too much pressure. It's anxiety. It also brings back the memories of shooting that. I mean, I had a great time.
Yep.
Made friends on the show. Still talk to the producer all the time, but I did not want to do another competition. So maybe one day I'll get inspired and I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I think my brother was gonna do a croqueta one, and I don't know. I think he backed out last minute or never.
I mean, that would have been
never
tight.
happened. Yeah, and my brother has an amazing personality to do that, so he would be fun.
So speaking of TV, Food Network, do you find that like the Food Network TV influencers is already like 75% of the business, or like do you feel like that's the direction that it kind of somehow took in? Because a lot of restaurants that open up are like so influencer driven that I feel like people almost feel that's what defines the restaurant.
Yes. So I'll give you an example. I just went to Japan and Korea for my honeymoon.
Mazel tov.
And thank you. My wife said, I'm going to get on TikTok to see what restaurants we should go to.
Okay.
Do you know how angry that made me?
Of course.
Because we're not on TikTok and we don't pay influencers. I have never paid one influencer. I've never invited one influencer. If an influencer has come, it's because they've wanted to come. In fact, during COVID, I got in like, there was, I don't know if you know Larry Carino. He's my PR guy. And we laugh about this all the time. Some influencer messaged me saying that she would like to come to the restaurant. Right. So I sent her a link to make a reservation. And I said, here's a link to make a reservation. You can come in and pay like everyone else. That's all I said. I mean, I guess it was kind of rude. But she, like the way she came at me was so annoying and aggressive. So I posted it. And I was like, these influencers these days. So she had like millions of followers. She made this video that went crazy. Like she went crazy. She went crazy. She even called me a dumb fucking hoe.
Shut
So we have like one of those like GIFs that says her going dumb fucking hoe that I send to people from time to time.
That's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, I'll send it to you later.
I need it in my life.
It went viral.
Really?
She was like really like just chewing me up and spitting me out. And I was like, damn, all I said was this. But I guess I didn't like block her name. So she was getting... So she posted the video and then she started getting like hate messages.
Wow.
So then I went on the internet and I was like, guys, we're not here to like ridicule anyone or bash anyone or threaten anyone. Right. Like, let's stop it here. Like, it was fun for like a second, scary a little bit too. But that's it. Like, so that stopped. But I get those messages all the time. Hey, I want to come in. It's going to be me and 4 people. We'll cover it. I'm like, what? Number one, we're a mom and pop store.
Right.
Like Finka's big. Yes, we're busy, but we are a mom and pop. We don't have 6 investors with like this disposable income that the restaurant could be losing money. And
we're not Catch. We're not like one of those major corporation restaurants.
And all these new restaurants that are popping up, I mean, I feel.
Oh, here we go. This is what I have you on for. This is what's up.
I feel, this is not a fact, this is an opinion, that half of the people eating there are eating there for free.
Right.
Like it's what we were talking about. You can't buy guests in West Kendall. You're not going to. We are a locals spot. So,
you know who was like obsessed with your, we spoke to Mr. Eats, George.
Oh, George, yeah.
And he loves you guys. He was
he grew up in the hood.
Right.
He grew up in our hood, and he ate Isla Canarias growing up. And when Finka opened, he was a loyal customer. He just moved to Westchester, so he's a little further now. But he still shows us love all the time. Like, again, he comes in because he likes it. And that's what I want. I don't want someone to come in because I paid them to come in. And then people, I don't know. I mean, that would be great, right? I pay someone $1,000 and they bring me $50,000 worth of business, but I don't think it's authentic.
Right. No, on his episode that he shot with us, he brought you guys up a couple times and was just like, we need more Finkas. This is what we need. We need real food. We need food with just love. And, again, I think a big problem, and this is just my opinion, is that locals don't care much for the transplants in terms of the sexy fishes of the world. Nobody cares. I feel like nobody here cares. It's.
Well, I think the people going to those places aren't from Miami. They're not Miami people.
No, they're tourist
They're tourists. Right. They're people who just moved here. But the real Miami people, I feel like to support the real Miami restaurants. People who maybe you weren't born here, but you've been here 15 years or 10 years, and you understand Miami. Because Miami is not about, and to an extent it is, about the glitz and the glamour and the flashiness and be seen, go there to be seen situation. To an extent, yes. But the real Miami cares about value, cares about, was this place memorable? Did it break my bank? And can I come here 3 times a week? There's places, Hillstone's expensive, but I feel like that's a perfect example. Yeah. You can go there multiple times a month,
right,
and have a decent meal and not break the bank as you would at other restaurants where you're paying $40 for 4 raviolis.
Right.
I went, I'm not going to say where, to a restaurant that I ordered pasta that it literally wasn't going to fill me up. And my wife and I were splitting. We ordered a bunch of things, but I was like, if someone's going to get this pasta and it's $45, they are going to leave here hungry. And you're charging $45 for 4 raviolis. That is not fair. That is not fair. And maybe it's because I grew up, watching my mom at Isla Canarias, where that is real. If you want value, that is real value.
Right.
You can go there and get a Wagyu picanha for $28. And because we work off volume.
Right.
And people haven't learned, the transplants haven't learned that you need to give value to the Miami people, because if not, they're not going to continue coming.
Who are some of the local guys you think are doing it right these days?
One of my employees just opened up a spot called Between Two Buns. I don't know if
I've heard of it. Yeah.
He started off with a food truck.
I haven't been, but I hear really good things about it.
Yeah. It's a sandwich shop. It's a grab and go kind of place. Obviously you can sit and eat, but I feel like that's Miami. You know what I mean? You're getting good value, good portions, good quality, and he's there. And I think that's also cool too. When you see that the chef is there, the owner's there. I've made tons of friends with my guests because I'm there. I had an event. Well, I'm veering off. Let me not say that.
No, that's all right.
No, I had an event on Saturday, a bridal shower at Amelia's. It was a private party, and the girl freaked out when she saw me. She's like, "Oh my God, you're here." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "You're cooking for my bridal shower. They didn't tell me." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know we had to tell you if I was going to be here." She's like, "No, I just wouldn't think that the owner would be here." I'm like, "I don't know where you go to eat, but if the owner's not there, that's not a good thing."
Right.
And obviously I can't be at the restaurant every day. I have to, some people from Finka are like, "I haven't seen you." I'm like, "I've been at Amelia's," or "I work at Amelia's," and people are like, "I haven't seen you," or vice versa. Sorry.
In your mind, what operators are doing it right?
So I've gotten really close to Giorgio in the last couple of years. He's gotten really into wine and really geeking out with cocktails and stuff. So I love to see a chef that can do both. He can jump behind the bar and make cocktails. He can talk to you about a bajillion regions and a bajillion varietals that I've never heard of. I love that. And then his food is approachable, and I think his prices are approachable. I think he has a lot of specials. His happy hour, all of that is amazing. And his service is very good too. At Luca, I've experienced exceptional service various times.
Giorgio solid.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Gables right now? Is it oversaturated? Is it?
I think it's doing its thing because it was kind of dead for a minute.
Right.
And I think it's, I mean, there's some restaurants obviously that are not doing well.
Right.
Senora Martinez opening up. I mean,
I was excited
who
about that.
doesn't love
Right.
Michelle Bernstein? I think she's the one who put Miami on the map. Like, she is, you know.
And you got David. I mean, who's not a terrible
And
bar guy.
I
So,
love
you know.
David, love Michelle. I mean, I was so excited when they came back and then brought Senora Martinez back, because I vividly remember in the design district
where Patek
as a
Philippe's,
kid,
yeah.
because I don't know what year that was. What
Yeah.
year? Do you know what year that was?
I mean, it was still open
It's like
in
2008?
2000, yeah, it's around 2008.
Right?
Yeah, it was
So I
still
was
open.
18.
Right.
And experiencing her food, I will never forget saying, this is what Miami needed. And I was a kid.
Right.
And I knew that she was doing something different. And you had Julio Cabrera behind the sticks. I mean, he's amazing. So you had these geniuses, and then it closed, and then we didn't hear about Senora Martinez again. So when she came out, she announced that she was going to open again, my parents and I, we made a reservation and had the oxtail paella, which blew my mind, because if you've been to Finka or Amelia's, we work a lot with oxtail. We have oxtail pizza, oxtail fried rice. We do oxtail with mushroom risotto. We do oxtail dumplings. We work a lot with
Right.
oxtail. When she did the oxtail paella, I was like, why the fuck didn't I think of this? It was incredible. Her pan con tomate is one of the best pan con tomates I've ever had. So my mouth is watering, as you can see. So yeah, I think though I can name a bunch, but I think Michelle, who's always done it right, and Giorgio, they're doing great things for us in Miami.
Why do you think nighttime Gables just can never hit? Like, do you have the capacity, you have the density, and you have the people? Is it just because it's?
I think it's more families that live around
Right.
there. You know, it's not the party town like Brickell. Brickell, if you're young
Right.
and you're moving to Miami, yeah, you might move to the Gables, but I think the thing you want to do, especially if you're single and you like to go out, is move to Brickell.
Right.
Like, even though, you know, Brickell floods and this and that, but if you don't care and you're young,
Yeah.
Brickell's the place. So I think you move to the Gables when you're maybe in your 30s, you're starting to have a family, or you already have a family. I don't think the Gables is like a party town,
Right.
You know, but Copper 29 does
Yeah,
well.
they do
They're
their
packed.
thing. Right. You know, just like how many Copper 29s, you know what I mean? Like, do
Yeah.
those kind of numbers, or I feel like it's just like, I remember Roman went into
What's it called?
Miracle and
Yeah.
like didn't, you know, but then Motec came in and they crushed it,
Yeah.
you know? Obviously we know Houston's is doing like gangbuster numbers, and
I
Millstone
use them as like whenever I have a meeting with my staff, like Flanagan's and Hillstone.
their
This is
operational guide is
who we
supposed like a
need to-
Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to admit this, but I have one.
Really? I mean, that's a commodity
I won't
right
say
there.
who gave it to me, but
we don't talk about that, but
it's somewhere. I don't even know. Someone brought it to me like in 2015,
Right.
and they're like, "Look at this. It's a binder this thick," and that's why they are the way they are, because they haven't changed their menu since I was in high school. I'm 36 years old. That means for 20 years, 80% of that menu has stayed exactly the same. So they're not being like inventive with their food. It's just when you walk in there, there's something about everything. I don't know how to explain it, but there's something about everything. The way they remember you, the way that I can sit down at that bar and they're like, a Vesper, nigiri plate, no salmon. I'm like, yes, that's exactly why I'm here, because you remembered exactly what I want. And the service never, I can't say it's super memorable at the tables sometimes, but it's perfect. But it's perfect. At the bar, I feel like it is. At
Right.
the bar, they can get more personal with you, and, you know, you can create that relationship. I think they do everything too. They make their own coffee. They run their own food. They don't have time to really get to know you in that way. At Finka, we have drink runners, bussers. You don't make your own coffee. You have food runners. Like, your job is to literally make sure that nothing goes wrong at this
Right.
table. So it's different. But there's something in the air at Hillstone that keeps you wanting to come back. It's
do you feel like
a
this is
comfort.
why like them and Flanagan's, they usually don't close locations, they just keep adding new ones? Or?
Yeah, it's consistency. I mean,
Right.
if there's one word to describe it, it's consistency. When you go to Flanagan's, you know what type of service you're going to get. You know what type of food you're going to get. I'm not saying it's good service at Flanagan's, but the food is always going to be the same.
Do you think it's more nostalgia, or you think that the food is just safe? You know what you're getting. It's no
I think
surprise.
it's both. I think it's both. Like, after a long shift, when I opened up my restaurant in Doral Barbacoa, which we closed recently, well, like a year ago, actually.
Right.
It feels like yesterday. when I was opening up every night, I would go to Flanagan's and have like a shot of Jameson, a beer, and like
That sounds really good right now.
wings. Oh,
Right,
yeah.
I've crushed that right now.
Yeah, I don't know. After a long day, like I deserve Flanagan's,
Right.
or after a long day, like I deserve Hillstone. I don't know. It's just, it's one of these things that it makes you feel good when you go. It's like Disney
That
World.
artichoke dip is just you can't touch it. Like nobody.
No, I've tried to recreate it, and it's just never can never get it.
It's impossible. But like, you know, in terms of new operators, like where do you think the future of Miami Culinary is?
I don't know. That's a good question. I just hope that the transplants aren't scaring the real OG people, you know, because now what it seems like is you need to spend $20 million to make this beautiful restaurant for people to come. And that's not the case. I don't think that's the case at all.
Right.
I think if you have everything, all the check marks, which is hard, I'm not saying it's easy, good food, whatever, and you create a cool ambiance, you don't have to invest a ton of money. You don't need 5,000 investors. Like,
Yeah.
I think the number one thing is you have to love what you do. You have to make sure that you're okay with working crazy hours. You have to like people, which I'm not a huge people person. I don't like to go up to
What are you
tables.
talking about? You're always great.
No, I don't like to. I'm not one of these owners that just goes around the
Right.
tables like, "Hi, I'm the owner.
Right.
How are you?"
Sing you a song,
Yeah,
right.
like no, I'll go to the table if you call me over, or I'll say hi, but I'm not, wearing a suit, just walking around greeting my guests.
Right.
I'm getting shit done, you know. But you have to like people because you have to deal with them, and you have to know how to lead a team. That's something I learned in the process. Like I told you, I opened Finka with children, basically. We were all children. And I learned little by little how to reprimand in private, praise in public, things that, are very important when you're running. I have 104 employees at Finka.
104.
It's a lot of people to deal with, a lot of personalities, I got to call out, my son's sick. I got to call out, I had a colonoscopy. I forgot to tell you guys. I don't know. Yeah, like things like that. Like yesterday we ran a skeleton crew at Amelia's.
Right.
Where I had to stay and my beverage director had to stay because we ended up getting so slammed and because we had call-outs. And it's just like, that's the nature. You can't be like, oh, they'll figure it out. No, because that'll cost you a review. That'll cost you a walkout of a guest. You have to be ready to put in the work.
What do you see in terms of, what I'm always curious about, rents and just how the cost of labor and goods and everything just going through the roof? Are you able to keep up with the times? Do you have to raise the price? Like, do you have to charge a service charge? Like, where is it? Are things maybe calming down a little bit than they were a year ago? We were all panicked.
Yeah, so I follow kind of my mom's guideline.
Right.
She doesn't like to raise prices. So it's funny because we actually received a review today from my mom's restaurant saying that we've raised our prices and we have not. So I don't remember your name, but that lady on Yelp that gave us that review.
We're going to put you on blast, lady, on Yelp, I promise you.
No, but my mom, we don't raise prices, and what we try to do is make sure that we do everything else better. So if in the case we do have to raise prices, the guests won't be upset. But I haven't raised my prices in a year, and prior to that, I didn't raise it for like 4 years.
Wow. But that must be tough because, obviously vendors are not lowering prices on you.
Right.
So it's really hard for you to...
It's just, I feel like it's not the guest's fault.
Right.
But then this is a business at the end of the day. I wouldn't have this business if it wasn't going to make money, right? It's a tough call. We really don't like to raise prices. And as far as surcharges, we don't charge anything, just tax, 8% tax, and you can leave the tip that you like. We don't do autograt. We don't charge anything sneaky on the receipt, nothing. Right. It's just you get what you pay for. What else did you ask me? Oh, rent.
Well, I think the fact that I tell every client, if you can buy the building, buy the fucking building.
100%.
Like, I would think that because you have that off of your plate,
right,
that might help out a lot.
Right.
So, guys, if you can buy the building, buy the building.
100%.
But is that, you think, the main reason of why you're able to keep the prices consistent? And
Yeah, I think, well, we have a guy that does our ordering and receiving, which takes a lot of weight off of the chef and myself. And his main job is to find the best pricing.
That's actually
same quality,
right.
Same pricing. Better pricing, same quality. We never want to keep pricing to then lower quality.
Right.
You know, that is like, he knows you can't do it, but we shop around. We're never married to one vendor. The vendors get mad. They're like, oh, why'd you stop buying the churrasco from me? Well, because this guy had the same exact thing for $1 less a pound.
Right.
And like, I'm not married to you. I'm going to go with whoever gives me the best prices.
Right.
So that's his literal job. And then to weigh everything that comes in, because that's another issue. You're getting 40 hogfish that you're paying for, and then when you open the box, it's 30.
Right.
You know, that actually hasn't happened, but I'm giving you an example.
I'm sure you know people that's happened to.
Yeah, so we check everything.
Right.
I think that saves us a lot of money,
right.
having that person that just focuses on that. Because a chef really doesn't have, at least on a scale, Finka scale, which is, we're doing 3,000 covers a week. It's a lot.
That's amazing.
The chef doesn't have time for
right.
that. The chef is focusing on the food and focusing on, you know, where he can support his staff. If, you know, someone calls out, he's got to get it in the line. You know, unfortunately, like, that's just how it is. Obviously, in hotels and stuff like that, where the chef is in front of a computer, maybe they have time. But my chefs aren't in front of a computer. They just started using hot schedules and making their schedules. I want them to focus on their food. And I think that's how we've been able to do everything, is just making sure the right people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right. How do you keep yourself, I mean, you're talking about chef and keeping, you know, your eye on the food, and, you know, how do you stay with the times and stay fresh and stay new with your menu?
I'll be honest, this last year, since I got married, started IVF process, I have 2 babies frozen right now.
Mazel.
Thank you. Bought a house. Like, we had
you
so
had a big
much.
year. I mean, listen,
we had the
that's not
biggest
easy.
year. I
Right.
will be honest, I couldn't get crazy with the menu.
Right.
The menu has been, we've had like a couple specials here and there. Now that I'm back, now that everything's calm, like, I came back from my honeymoon like full force.
Right.
We've been changing plating. We've been, especially at Amelia's, changing plating, adding new things, moving my team around to see where people work a little better. And this 2026, I know, is going to be an amazing year for us, as far as pushing the envelope, bettering the menu, coming up with new things.
Well, you've done a lot of collabs, I know, in the past. Like,
Yeah.
Anybody particular you like collabing with more than other? Or
The last collab I did was with Giorgio,
Yep.
and that was fun. I mean, I see him like my annoying big brother,
Right.
my strong annoying big brother. I know he's gonna like that. He's cool peeps. You know, when I first met him, I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was, you know, he had just one chopped.
Right.
You know, se cree niño bonito. No, but he's got a good heart, and he's hardworking, and I think he's inquisitive, and I love people like that. He's always wanting to learn, and he asks a lot of questions, and yeah, it was really fun working with him.
Eileen, you've been fantastic, but before you go, you know, every episode, just a tip, I like to end it with a top category of something. You know, we switch it up every week. Today, do you like to drink?
I love cocktails.
I love cocktails. All right, so here we go. For today, give me your top 3 or 5. What do you think?
Ooh, 5? That's a lot, but I'll see if I'll say 3, and then if 2 more come to mind.
All right, fair enough. Give me your top bars, restaurant bars in Miami that make the best craft cocktail.
Okay, so.
And tell me,
and I'll tell you
name
why.
And why, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna say LPM just because I love the food, and I think they have an incredible bar program.
Best escargot in the planet.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. We have escargot at Amelia's, and I always say doesn't even compare. It's number 2 in my eyes, but LPM kills it.
What's your favorite drink at LPM?
I usually get a Vesper or Negroni. Those are like my go-tos,
right.
You know. So I usually get that everywhere I go. I love an espresso martini from Luca.
Okay.
Let's see what else. I like a place that is fun and can make good drinks, right? Because I feel like that's hard. That's hard to do because like it's either like fun and divey, and then you're like, all right, let me get a Jameson shot and.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I like a Jameson shot.
Right. I love that too.
And a Stella.
But you asked for craft.
Right.
So I'm gonna say Sweet Liberty.
Okay, great. David Martinez, great.
You can have an amazing time. I've spent a couple birthdays there, and you know we've celebrated a couple things there, and the bar's the bar is incredible. I don't know. I think they have the award for largest back bar or amount of like spirits. It's like 2 stories high. It's amazing. Let's see. What else? This is hard. And I know I'm going to forget someone and then they're going to text me like, what the fuck?
Like, how did you not use me? Like,
honestly,
or those are your top.
Those are my top. But, and not because it's mine.
Obviously.
But Amelia's, I Finka's cocktail program is amazing, and it's the same beverage director, so it's the same. But the vibe that you have at Amelia's, especially late night, we do late night Friday, Saturday from 11 to 1, $10 cocktails, no matter what you order, martinis, espresso martini, whatever you order is $10.
Guys, if you haven't been to Finka's or Amelia's 1931, you have a problem and you need to go immediately.
Yeah, no, the bartenders are in suits, I love that. Senora Martinez has great cocktails too.
Senora Martinez is always great. Yeah.
I love a bartender in a suit. And I feel like the drinks taste better when they're in a suit.
You're not wrong.
My bartenders hate me because they're like, it's so hot. But
it's
but you look
July
hot,
and you're
right?
making me wear a suit. And yeah.
Yeah.
Eileen Andrade, you are the best. Good luck with everything. Congratulations on the marriage.
Thank you so much.
And I'm really excited to see what you have in store for us this year.
Thank you.
You rock.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Always.